Now we're going to take a little bit of a look under the hood of Zacks Momentum Trader service with editor of the service, Dave Bartosiak, who joins me here. So Dave, basically, as I am understanding it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, this Momentum Trader is really a kind of a marriage, if you will, of the Zacks rank and technical analysis?
Yeah, absolutely. So first we start by looking for Zacks rank #1 strong buy or Zacks rank #2 buys. Then we look for momentum across a few different metrics. We want to see a recent earnings surprise, so that gives us kind of earnings surprise momentum, we like to call it. We also want to see revisions to the upside recently to the earnings, as well as the stock being within 15% of its 52-week high, which is kind of traditionally what you see in a momentum stock. But we also want to see stocks that have beat the market on a relative basis as well.
So on the technical side, what type of technical analysis are you going to be using?
I stopped short of calling it the KISS method, the keep it simple, stupid method. But really, I try to simplify it into kind of three parts. The trend, which is kind of the long-term direction of where the stock is going. The trace, which is identifying areas of potential support and resistance. And then the last part is the trigger, and that kind of tells us exactly when we should enter that trade.
All right, let's take these one at a time just for simplicity purposes. How do you determine the trend?
Well, first you kind of look at a longer-term point of view, right? Longer-term perspective. So, for example, if you look at the S&P 500, we've all seen the charts dating back to the beginning of time, where the market eventually keeps on going up, right? So you could say that the long-term trend in that is positive, but in between times you're going to have periods where it might go sideways or it might go down. So that's kind of what you call an intermediate trend, right, in a longer-term trend. So that's what we're trying to find is stocks that are in a longer-term uptrend that over the short run may have had a little downtrend or sideways action. And we like to use a moving average to determine what the trend is. So basically, if the stock is trading above a moving average, right, in this case we use a 25-day moving average, then it's in an uptrend. And if the stock is trading below that, then it's in a downtrend. And we really just kind of keep it that simple.
So which levels are you tracing then on charts?
Yeah, so you can look back to see historically what were areas of support and resistance. So we'll see a stock that, butts $100 is kind of a key level. A stock will butt up against $100 a couple times, sell off, pull back down. Well, that was resistance for it then. It was kind of like, a ceiling. So you could look historically where the price action is stalled. But also, a lot of times with momentum stocks, you have stocks that have run up in uncharted territory, so to speak. So you really don't have any historical data that you can look at to say, oh yeah, there's an area of support, there's an area of resistance. So what we use is retracement levels of the last big move. So if a stock goes from 10 to 20, then the 50% retracement of that would be down at 15. So we use those levels as well.
And fill us in, if you would, a little bit on the trigger part of the equation.
Yeah, the trigger part is a short-term indicator that tells you, okay, now is the time to go. So we have kind of all this encompassed. You have Zacks rank that we funneled down using our screening criteria. We know it's in a longer-term uptrend, right? It may have pulled back to support where we traced it, and now we need to know exactly when do we pull the trigger on this and buy. And that's what trigger tells us. So I use the fast stochastic indicator to tell me when it's time to go in.
Okay. And what about then once a stock hits the portfolio, what's the plan from that point?
Yeah, the plan there is to keep a close eye on it. I like to keep the stop loss, or about 8% is kind of my initial target on that, because we're going to get a lot of at-bats with this. Okay, there's going to be a lot of chances to find stock ideas, and I want to move that stop loss to break even as soon as possible. That way, we can go ahead and let these runners, let the winners run, right? Let them go as long as possible, but we're going to cut short any of our losses that we have in the portfolio.
All right. Well, thank you for that information. Hopefully that helps you get a little bit of a thumbnail sketch, an overview, a basic picture, if you will, of Zacks Momentum Trader with Dave. I'm Terry Ruffalo.